Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Double stuffed weekend here at the Lodge. We had a nice little Final Fantasy podcast yesterday. We've got a Kingdom Hearts themed podcast today. Things are revving up again for us over here. We're starting to get all of our new assets and stuff together. Before we continue, those of you might have recognized the intro from Morning Quest. That will be returning in a couple weeks, 2 or 3 weeks or so, and we will be live on Monday mornings for Morning Quest. But today is not Morning Quest. Today, we've got a Landy Lodge podcast all focused on Riku and Kairi. You know what? Let's just get this all set over here. Let me just sort of gloss over and go over what I want today's episode to accomplish. Now, look, we're no stranger to talking about the future of the franchise. Typically, since Melody of Memory, Union Cross finale, and Dark Road, we've kind of been left at a chronological standstill. So we have discussed the future of many characters many times before. By the way, shout out to Prosafia Gaming, whose channel provided this video. That said, we've discussed both Riku and Kairi's future quite a lot. Now, there is a Riku theory that has come up quite often about his future that I pretty much want to avoid altogether today. Because again, this isn't the first time, per se, we're discussing these characters' futures, but given what's been discussed on previous episodes, there's just a couple things that I don't want us to really touch on today so we could explore some new ideas. So, let's give some shout-outs to the early birds. We've got Knuckles, X37 Hearts, David, the Hype Man, Adonai, Vitrin, Falcone, Zeb, Phoenix Splash, and Rock. What is going on, everybody? Thanks for hopping in here. Let's continue going with this. So here's the thing. We've discussed Riku's future in the Darkseeker saga and what is to come. And a very popular thought here at the Lodge is that Riku is going to die in the early part of this new saga. And again, I'm going to go over this quickly because I don't really want to discuss it at length in today's episode, because it's like the primary prediction and theory we've discussed here. But sort of the idea is Riku has conquered the darkness. He's one of the few, if not the primary character, who has overcome his inner darkness and is now able to control it and utilize it to his advantage. He's in control. And in a series like Kingdom Hearts, it makes you wonder, okay, what's left for the man who's conquered that? What's left for the man who's conquered darkness and incorporated it? And if truth be known, I guess what I would say to that is death is the next step. Something that Riku needs to conquer would be death. And it's a way to mix up a character that's already had a full and complete arc. So again, that's just kind of been the primary theory here. If you want to hear more about it, go look at some of our Kingdom Hearts 4 theory episodes. You're sure to find plenty on it. With Kairi, Kairi's definitely a little bit more unpredictable compared to Riku. So there might be a couple of things we've touched on in today's episode that we've touched on before, but overall, we're looking to expand on that to a great degree. Josh Z is here, and so is Wally of the West. What is going on? And David, to sum up your question, just overall the theory that the Riku's character arc in the next saga will be overcoming death, right? He overcame darkness. What's next? There's several paths he can go. One path that we've entertained quite a lot here is the idea that Riku will die, but ultimately will be challenged to overcome death. I want to take it down a bit of a different route for Riku. I want to take it down a little bit of a different route for Riku. So, there's no way to discuss Riku's future without discussing Yozora. Case in point, there's an obvious overlap between these two characters. In fact, there's an overlap with Yozora and Sora as well. But to ignore the aesthetic overlap provided by Yozora compared to Riku, we would be remiss to ignore that. So, whatever fate may be in store for Riku, it's very obvious to me that Yozora is going to be a very big part of that. Now, like I said, what's left for the man who's conquered darkness, right? What's left for the man like Riku who has conquered darkness? If not death for the next thing to conquer, then perhaps you could argue that maybe Riku's going to need to conquer the light in some way. Or perhaps he'll be faced with a new source. So again, right? Riku, the man who conquered darkness, obviously is going to have a clash with Yozora, which means, of course, Night Sky. So I actually think that's probably indicative that he'll probably be able to hold his own against Yozora. Again, not that Yozora wields darkness. We've seen no such thing in his boss battle. But in the sense that Riku, a man who has contended with darkness, likely will be able to contend with, symbolically, the night sky. And that's why, ultimately, I think you're going to see interactions between Riku and Yozora, because, again, you have that sort of named overlap, right? You have that sort of overlap where, Yozora is the night sky, and then you have Riku, one who has contended with darkness. Henceforth, why I think the two of them actually may end up getting along quite well after an initial clash, but we'll see where that goes. So again, getting back to this, what might be in Riku's future for him to conquer? If not darkness, which has been contended with, if not death, which we have expanded on, then maybe it's the light, right? And we've discussed this in many different forms, in many different characters, Master of Masters being one of them, that perhaps, whereas things like darkness and nothingness were the primary symbolic enemies in the Darkseeker saga, perhaps light, right, and an abundance of light will be the obstacle that needs to be overcome in the next Kingdom Hearts saga. So, again, perhaps that might be indicative of where Riku is headed. Because maybe what I'm starting to see is where Riku goes, so does the plot, symbolically, right? In the Darkseeker saga, let's be honest, who among Sora, Riku, and Kairi conquered the darkness? Riku. Many of us would argue, and still do, that Sora still needs to contend with the darkness at a level that Riku has. Again, that's why in Dream Drop Distance, Riku passed the Mark of Mastery, and Sora did not. So, in the Darkseeker saga, where again, symbolically, darkness was the primary enemy, obviously Master Xehanort was the big bad, but symbolically speaking, darkness, Riku is the one who's actually overcome that. More so than his other trio members, Sora and Kairi. So if those of us who theorize that light will be the antagonist in the next saga, perhaps that is something Riku will be confronted with at the very beginning of this Lost Masters arc. So again, in terms of what is the obstacle, what is the adversary that Riku is going to be faced with, apart from characters like Yozora, I think we're going to see some sort of contention with light or an abundance of it. Of course, Kingdom Hearts does have this third direction that we saw in Kingdom Hearts 2, where it's not as simple as light and dark. There's also nothingness. Just like light and dark are this binary that clash, perhaps 2 is something and nothing. So there's also a possibility that in the world of fiction, perhaps there's a certain kind of nothingness that may need to be contended with. Adonai says, I don't see Riku as needing to conquer death because it's a primal fear about it. Fear begetting darkness that Riku has already dealt with. And you see, Adonai, that might be a good point in the column for perhaps Riku's symbolic enemy. It will be more akin to something like light or nothingness like we saw in Kingdom Hearts 2, right? Because we've reached the point in Kingdom Hearts now where there is no light, good, dark, bad understanding. We understand, as well as many of the characters, that things are just a little bit more complex than that. Give me a second here. Let's pull this up. Okie dokie. And let's throw ourselves right over here. And let's keep chatting. So yeah, I think, and what's going on, Liam? I see you in here. Josh C says, I am an angry gamer forced to perfect QTEs, and I've totally stonewalled my Mario and Luigi Brothership playthrough. I get that as a fan of the QTEs. It's not always an easy path. Lauro is here, says, well, I came over here to Twitch, but I'm the only one. YouTube it is then. YouTube is our main party zone. Everybody knows that. Twitch is like the waiting room where we transfer you from one room to the other. But we did reach over 1,000 Twitch followers. Kokiri, my guy Landy, cooking on a Sunday. We are cooking on a Sunday. So, let's keep this rolling. As far as, again, getting back into Riku. And all of this that I have theorized from is also going to play into where I think Kairi is headed to, so bear with me on that. Um, okay. So here's what I actually think is going to happen. Because I think in a lot of ways, and you saw a little bit of this with Kingdom Hearts 3, and I think Kingdom Hearts 4, you're going to see it more so. And you know what? Let's get the KH4 trailer up since we're going to be speaking about that. Okay. There we go. So here's the thing. I've got this feeling that Kingdom Hearts 4 in a lot of ways, and again, KH3 in some ways may apply to this, but that Kingdom Hearts 4 in a lot of ways is going to feel like Kingdom Hearts 1 in the sense that it is the beginning of a new story, the beginning of something larger, a fresh new beginning. I think ultimately that sort of Genesis feeling is something Kingdom Hearts 4 is going to be going for, right? So I think in a lot of ways, if we want to predict what's going to happen in Kingdom Hearts 4, I actually think... Do I have sound on down here? Let me check something. No, we're good. I actually think the best way to predict what's going to happen in Kingdom Hearts 4 is to look back at the patterns of Kingdom Hearts 1. We'll take a swig for Kingdom Hearts 1 on that one. Right? Because we discuss this kind of stuff on the channel all the time. Stories are pattern, right? And pattern recognition will give you the ability to help predict stories and be able to predict where they're going. So I actually think, again, for Kingdom Hearts 4's sake, you're going to see a lot of sort of narrative and, in my opinion, symbolic overlap with Kingdom Hearts 1. So here's what I think. I actually think at the end of Kingdom Hearts 4, we're going to end up in a situation very similar to the ending of Kingdom Hearts 1, with one primary thing that will change, and I will get to that. So again, by the way, I see you in here, Lauro. I see you in here, Luz. What's going on? Again, I think that's a good predictor, because again, we're starting a fresh new story, and I think we're going to see a lot of the same patterns play out. So hear me out. I think at the end of Kingdom Hearts 4, something is going to happen to Riku where now he is the isolated one. Now, again, this is where the death theories can be compatible, but I'm going to go in a different direction with it. I don't think it'll be as simple as death per se, but I think what you're going to end up in a situation with where Sora is the one we're pursuing now, but by the end of Kingdom Hearts 4, Sora will no longer be the one pursued. Now, again, patterns, right? Let's remember something. In Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind, Kairi was the one pursued. In Kingdom Hearts 4, Sora here will be the one who is pursued. Same with Melody and Memory, right? Melody and Memory in 4. Sora is the one who will be pursued. So Kairi in 3, Sora with 4, and then I believe that Riku will be who's next in line, that there's going to be an organization among our cast and crew members to rescue him. So I think you're going to see that shift. Again, that's kind of what Kingdom Hearts 2 is about, right? In a sense, pursuing Riku. Where is Riku? We got to find him. I think we're going to be working ourselves towards a similar situation like that. It'll manifest in different ways. The separation and the stakes will be higher and more severe, but patterns are patterns. And ultimately, Kingdom Hearts stories operate, especially the number titles, they operate under a very simple formula. Find your friends, beat the bad guys, go home. So there has to be this find your friends scenario. Birth by Sleep had something like that too, and we will be talking Birth by Sleep today. I think that's another way to get a good predictor in. But again, I think we see a situation where Riku is separated, Riku is vanished, Riku goes somewhere else, and then there's going to be an effort to rescue him. Here's another reason why I think that's apparent. I'm actually going to pull up the scene itself. Just hang with me real tight. Hang with me real tight, gang. I'm going to pull up the scene itself. Okay. We're going to let this play. Perfect. So, let's pull this scene up. This scene in question. I'll put the sound on for you guys. Okay. Let's pause you. Turn this on. Okay. I'm just going to take the chat off the screen just for a second, just because that's a nice shot. I think there's a little bit of foreshadowing about Riku having some sort of unfortunate fate coming to him. So case in point, let me turn on the sound for you guys. Just remember, cutscenes are very expensive to animate, and voice actors too. None of this stuff is cheap. So I think very rarely, especially lately, Kingdom Hearts seldom wastes a breath. So just bear in mind, and I'm going to play it here, bear in mind what the fairy godmother is saying to Riku.
Be careful out there, dear, and try not to do anything too reckless. Come straight back if you encounter any trouble.
Alrighty then. Come straight back if you encounter any trouble. Guys, we know Riku's not going to do that. Riku's not going to see a little bit of trouble and go, time to pack it up. All right, we're cooked. We're going home. That's not happening. Riku sees trouble. He's getting involved. Now, Fairy Godmother bared a warning. Now, here's the thing. You guys remember in Kingdom Hearts 1? Do you guys remember in Kingdom Hearts 1? Yeah, and remember I said, if we want to predict where KH4 and the next saga is headed, let's go back to the beginning of the last saga and try to pick up on some patterns. So do you remember how... What's up, Kevin Hughes? Do you remember how in Kingdom Hearts 1 you had the Council of Disney Villains? Now I think what you have developing here is a Council of Disney Witches and Wizards. I like when you look at Yen Sid, Merlin, and Fairy Godmother, kind of as their own little Kingdom Hearts trio, right? They're moving chess pieces around, but only revealing as much info as they need to, right? Look, everything with Yen Sid, right? He was fully aware of things like Quadratum. He was fully aware of things that Xehanort was up to, but only revealed it when necessary. Now, Lance the Master dropping in and gifting 5 memberships. My man, thank you so much. I appreciate that. What's up, Lance? Best mod in the game. Looking forward to seeing you soon, brother. So yeah, now you have this, just like in KH1, you had this Council of Disney Villains. Now you've got this Council of Disney Witches and Wizards. Now again, we got Yen Sid, who knew things about the world of fiction and Quadratum and only revealed it, and knew Xehanort was pursuing it, in a sense, and only revealed that when necessary. Merlin created basically a pocket universe to hide Kairi and Axel. Now, to me, and some people can disagree, we'll see what you guys think, I think there's subtext within Kingdom Hearts 3 worth recognizing. Excuse me. I think there's a subtext where it's like Merlin did not create that pocket universe so that Kairi and Axel could train down to infinitum. That's not what that was about. That is just straight up not what... You got to remember, the witches, Yen Sid, Merlin, and Fairy Godmother, they're playing a different game. Okay, again, they knew about... Fairy Godmother can transport you to Quadratum in the world of fiction. Yen Sid knew about it. This Council of Witches and Wizards, they're playing a different game. I've been on that for a while. But here we go. We're going to take this one step further. Merlin, and I've been thinking about this for a while, did not create that pocket universe so that Kairi and Axel could train down to infinitum. No, they were both hidden for 2 reasons. 3, actually. I'm going to give you a third. But the first 2 reasons, let's think about it strategically, was keep the Princess of Heart away from Xehanort. Obviously, Xehanort had an interest in having Kairi at his disposal. He could use Kairi as a motivator to make Sora commit the nature taboo that would open up the gateway to Quadratum, right? A to B to C. We saw it transpire. You require motivation. So, I think for Kairi's sake, she was hidden in that pocket universe literally to keep her away from Xehanort. Okay? Bear in mind, Xehanort is the one, and I can pull it up. I can pull it up here on the screen, so no questions need to be asked. Let's not forget that Xehanort, perfect screenshot, perfect screen cap. Xehanort is the one who kidnapped Kairi. Patterns, right, of playing out. He's always had a vested interest in her. And you saw it play out here when she was a child, and you saw her play into her plot at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3. Xehanort has always had her in mind. Therefore, I believe they hid her in that pocket dimension to keep her away from Xehanort for as long as possible. And again, same goes for Axel, right? If they're trying to recruit organization members, maybe they keep him away from getting blackmailed, keep him away from Sayax trying to pull some strings or trying to trap him. Either way, I believe the reason Axel and Kairi were put there simply was to hide them out. There's a dual reason for them to train, but also to hide them out. And now a little bit about Kairi. Keep keep this about Kairi in mind. Those who have watched my Kairi videos, you know where I'm going with this, but keep that idea about Kairi in mind. Kairi dealing with kidnappers, being kidnapped as a child, right? Being kidnapped by Axel. And now to avoid being kidnapped again, she has to be put in this pocket universe with a former kidnapper. Okay? But because Kairi's power is not with the blade, but is within her heart, what did she do? She overcomes that child trauma of being kidnapped by Xehanort and actually befriends a separate kidnapper in Axel and is willing and shown in the Keyblade Graveyard to give her life to save him. So, long-winded rant there. Let me take a swig. Rolling on now. So, Xehanort's always had that vested interest. So, I believe Merlin was playing the long game, as opposed to simply just putting her there to train. And let me get you guys back on the screen now. Let me get chat back on the screen. Let's get chat back on the screen. There we go. So, let's see. When people say Disney characters don't do anything important, yeah, you got to look at like the big legacy Disney characters, right? You got to look at Mickey, Donald, Goofy, Yen Sid, Fairy Godmother, Merlin. Everyone's making moves on the board. Everyone is making moves on the board. So, getting back into that, I believe Riku makes his way to Quadratum and uncovers an unfortunate fate. And that ultimately, in the next step of the saga, he is the one who's going to need rescuing. So let's pause on Riku for now. And his future. We will come back to it. But let's catch up. Let's catch up Kairi. And what's coming for her future. Right? What's coming for Kairi's future. Okay. Let's get this pulled up. Perfect. Okay. There we go. Let's turn the volume off, actually. We don't want that to play. Now, Kairi. A lot of speculation about what the future is going to hold for her. A lot of speculation, because if we're being honest, Kairi got a lot of setup in Kingdom Hearts 3 and Melody of Memory. No question asked. She got just as much plot setup as anybody else not named Sora. If not more, honestly. I think Sora might be the only one that can even compare in terms of how much development and setup a character has gotten in the last couple of entries. Those being Cage 3 and Melody of Memory. Now, predicting Kairi's future. The thing about Kairi is she's kind of got this fork in the road, right? This forked growth, let's call it that. If we look at the beginning of the Darkseeker saga, she's a Princess of Heart. That's her main role in the story. But, either by Nomura's vision or by fan feedback, by Kingdom Hearts 2, she was a Keyblade wielder. And by Kingdom Hearts 3, she had become a trained Keyblade wielder. So she kind of has these two parts of her character, the lover and the fighter, that are both developing and growing and perhaps heading towards the same peak. I think that would be amazing. So let's entertain that idea just for a second here. Let's remember something about Kairi and when it comes to her future and what's coming. So let's go through Kingdom Hearts 3. I almost like to make the joke, and I might even make a troll video like this in the next week or two, that it's like, if you looked at strictly Kingdom Hearts 3 and Melody of Memory, you would think the writers were shafting Riku and were just favoring Kairi the whole time. Because you know what? It wasn't Trousers with the raid! Party of 4. What's going on, Trousers? Thanks for hopping in here, bro. I appreciate it. But think about it, okay? Was it Riku who got to fight alongside Sora against Master Xehanort? No, it was Kairi. Man, I'm so tired of the writers ignoring Riku. Riku didn't get to fight old man Xehanort. Kairi did? Oh, why are they ignoring Riku? And then you could take that, you could take that another step further, that in Melody of Memory, she has the throne artwork. It's like, oh, Sora gets a throne artwork and Kairi gets a throne artwork, but not Riku. Why are the writers ignoring Riku? Right? So you have Riku, who was bequeathed his Keyblade by Terra when he was a kid and never got any like formal training. So it's like, oh, look at Riku. Didn't get any development. He's just a Mary Sue. He's just a Gary Sue. Just got handed the Keyblade by Terra. Meanwhile, Kairi is going to actually formally train under Aqua and has to work for it. You guys see where I'm going. You guys see where my troll is going. But anyway, Kairi got a lot of setup in Kingdom Hearts 3. Between making her more of a full-fledged wielder, her overcoming that childhood trauma of being kidnapped, and then, again, taking that a step further, and that, like, in her own little dreamscape, she's going to confront Master Xehanort, right? That fighting alongside Sora and defeating him in battle wasn't enough. Kairi has this sort of mental adversary that needs to be defeated, that's manifesting itself, in a sense, as Xehanort. So that's going to lead me into where I think a big part of Kairi's next story is headed. That I think it might blindside quite a lot of people. I'll wait till I get a good shot of them both on screen. But, you know, I'll just pause it here. Oh my God, bad. I'm not going to do my girl Kairi dirty like that. Anyway, what's going on, Bambina? It's good to see you just in time. Just in time. We're at the Kairi segment. So, hear me out now. Hear me out now. Hear me out now. We talk about how Xehanort will be returning. Particularly that a young Xehanort will be returning in some way, shape, or form. I'm going to take that one step further. Kairi and Xehanort will have to team up in some way, whether it's young Xehanort, cloaked Xehanort, dreamscape Xehanort, in some way, shape, or form, Kairi and Xehanort will have to work together. Because just like Kairi befriended Axel, her former kidnapper, she too, her Princess of Heart, her real power, just as she befriended Axel, I believe she's going to do the same thing with Xehanort. Because that's what Princess, because look, she's going to get strong with the Keyblade, guys. She's going to get strong with the Keyblade. She's going to have her combat moments. I honestly, Remind in the boss fight, those were some amazing moments. Okay? I'm not saying that we're not due for some great combat moments from Kairi. What I'm saying is, do not forget that being a Princess of Heart is her primary power. Okay? We are not going to judge her power based on how she wields a sword, right? She's a Princess of Heart first. That was always first established. Then she became a Keyblade wielder. So again, just like in KH3, we saw her with Axel, a former kidnapper, turn an enemy turned friend, someone she ended up dearly caring about. With Xehanort due to return, in my opinion, been holding to that since the end of KH3, with Xehanort due to return, more than likely a young Xehanort, I can see Kairi teaming up, collaborating, working with some form of Xehanort, be it world of fiction, non-fiction, dreamscape, datascape, in some way, shape, or form. That's going to happen. That's one of my main predictions. When I look back, see what we're building towards, what's going on, I think that's a big part of it right here. Okay, that's why we're watching this fight. That's why this was Kairi's Melody of Memory. This is her bridge from KH3 to KH4. That's her bridge from Kingdom Hearts 3 to Kingdom Hearts 4. And primarily what we're seeing here is that this is still, Xehanort is still an adversary to her. Still very much so. She's never given up her princess powers either. Yeah, that's my other thing, kind of what I was memeing on earlier. Let's remember, Kairi has saved everyone. Saved Sora in Kingdom Hearts 1, was able to transform him from a Heartless back into his normal self. That's what I'm saying. That's where her power is. That's her power. Okay? This whole idea that Kairi does nothing. I can't stand it. Okay? I think everything she does is overlooked because she's not doing it with a sword. I really do believe that. Now again, I want some cool sword moments. Don't get me wrong. Can't just have the boss battle with Xehanort. I want her coming into Quadratum, wielding that thing like Aqua, you know? I want to see that kind of stuff. I don't want Kairi and Aqua's training to be completely off screen. I'd like to see that dynamic in front of me, you know? So don't get me wrong. I think there's that aspect of Kairi's character. I'm not trying to say it's not important. It certainly is. What I'm just trying to say is that Princess of Heart angle is more important. The girl who hugged a Heartless and brought the heart back to the body. The girl who wrote the message in a bottle that reached her best friends in the realm of darkness and brought them home. The girl who in the Keyblade graveyard, when everybody gave up, Aqua gave up. Okay? Aqua, everyone's beloved Aqua, who can do no wrong. She gave up. Sora gave up. Kairi did not give up. She held on. That's her power. So, to me, anything she does with the sword is secondary. I care way more about things like her befriending some form of Xehanort or having to work with him to bring her kidnapping trauma from him full circle. Because again, I'm not pulling that out of nowhere. She did that with Axel, so too I think she could do that with Xehanort. All right. Let's keep this on. Amina says, you have great points here. I like to think so. Charizard says, Aqua didn't give up. She was just testing Sora and Riku. Yeah, exactly. She can do no wrong. She didn't drop that Keyblade because she gave up. She's like, I just want to see what the boys can do. Okay. Let's take a little swig here. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Appreciate you hanging out with me this Sunday. Hope we're having a good time. Are you guys having a good time? I'm having a good time. Are you guys having a good time? I'm having a good time. Let me take this one step further now. Let's talk now about, okay? Let's go. Let's take it to this scene, maybe. Let's pull it over here. Okay. I'm just pulling this up for a reason, folks. Don't worry. Okay, let's talk about this. So, having a great time. That's what I like to hear. And awesome to be on a Sunday evening. Also, Kokiri, I believe, has a podcast later tonight. If you guys are looking to hop from pod to pod, Kokiri will be definitely having a party of his own. Kairi and Zach have a similar mental strength. Yeah, Josh, see, I see what you mean. That, like, never give up attitude. It's Kairi's strength. And look, the whole thing with Aqua isn't just fan service. Just giving the fans what they want. There is a very good reason why she's going to train under Aqua, and I think Kairi, just as we must all venture to correct the generational traumas of our family, I believe Kairi will correct the generational mistake of Aqua, and I will get into that. So hear me out. Okay. So first of all, let's bear in mind she'll be the only one to really have a formal training under another master, compared to Riku and Sora. So that's one thing that gives her an edge. Let's remember that Kairi choosing not to go to Quadratum is actually an example of character development and not character stagnation. This is something that I remember when Melody of Memory dropped. I got into a lot of debates with people about this, but her choosing to stay back from Quadratum, again, this is not an example of stagnation. It's an example of development, and I will tell you why. Bear in mind, throughout all of Kingdom Hearts 2 primarily, and Kingdom Hearts 1, this could be true as well, Kairi is incredibly reckless. She's incredibly reckless. She's always biting off more than she could chew. Her eyes are too big for her stomach. Whatever saying you want to go with. An example of this is straight up in the Kingdom Hearts 2 endgame. Sora's being attacked, and she dives right into the battle, but she has no plan, no weapon, but she just wanted to help. She was compelled to help. Now again, to us fully grown adults, we see her do that, and we go, Kairi, honey, we love you, but that was a bit of an airhead move. Are you an idiot? But then you remember, she is a child. She is a child in a very strange world, okay? This is not, after school, her friends getting beat up and she jumps into the fight, okay? Very different circumstances going on here. So anyway, if you bear in mind throughout Kingdom Hearts 2, be it running through dark corridors or diving into a mob of Heartless that attack her, Kairi is reckless to a fault. She wants to help, but in her trying to help, she makes things more difficult whenever she's trying to help in that sort of more combative sense. Kairi choosing to stay back and train under Aqua shows a level of maturity, okay, that she didn't have in previous entries, and also shows a level of maturity that would differentiate herself from, say, Sora or Riku. Okay. Let's see. Where's my shirt? It must be Sunday because Lanny's up here preaching the gospel of Kairi. I always will. I always will. Okay? I think people would be wise to not judge a female supporting character as if they are a male main character. Okay? Those differences call for different approaches. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Making Kairi more like Sora or Riku makes her less like Kairi. Let the girls play, man. Leave her alone. So anyway, here she is. She's going to train under Master Aqua. Here's what she's going to do that Aqua didn't. Here's what she's going to do that Aqua couldn't. Let's dial this back for good old Kairi here. This is the next step. So if the Xehanort thing doesn't manifest, I guarantee you this next part is what manifests. So she's training under Master Aqua. Now, typically in these stories where there's a master and a pupil, there's a master that made a critical error at some point in their life. The pupil, by nature of studying under that master, in a sense, inherits that generational mistake and will be faced with it themselves. So, what is Aqua's critical mistake? If we go back and we look at Birth by Sleep, specifically, some might argue that Aqua is responsible for how messy things ended up. In a sense, by chasing Terra and trying to forcefully bring him home, all she did was push him further towards the darkness. Aqua, in trying to control Ventus, and again, Aqua did this all with good intentions, and she has a good heart. She's not a bad person, so let's make that clear. We like when characters are flawed here, okay? We like when characters are flawed. So, again, she pursues Terra when she shouldn't, pushing him closer to the darkness. She tries to push Ventus away and push him back home, which only leads him further into Xehanort's trap. So Aqua, in a sense, got played by circumstances, right? In that her natural reactions to things, all they did was push everyone around her further away. By chasing Terra, it only pushed Terra further to the darkness. So, that to me, when I look throughout Aqua's story and where things in a sense went wrong, that's the number one thing I see. The number two thing I see is that ultimately she fell to darkness from isolation. So I'm going to create a fork in the road for Kairi here, similar to what I was discussing before. I can see this going down two roads now. I can see the road where... Let me think exactly how I would say this. I can see the road where perhaps it is not Riku who ends up isolated at the end of this game or at the end of this venture. Perhaps it is Kairi that ends up isolated and alone. And in the way that she overcomes her master's critical error is that when she is alone and isolated, just like in Kingdom Hearts 3, we see that she never loses her constitution. She doesn't give up. She continues to believe. That power of belief guides her through the obstacles in a realm of darkness or isolation that Aqua otherwise couldn't overcome. That's A. Another way that this goes is that, be it in Kingdom Hearts 4 or in the game that comes after, when Kairi eventually makes her way to Quadratum, to the world of fiction, much like Aqua, she's going to be in this position where she's got to pursue both Sora and Riku. She's going to be like torn in two directions, kind of like Aqua was, where there's going to be this effort to retrieve, to bring someone home. And here's where I see things going, guys. Here's where I see things going. I can see Kairi finally getting to Quadratum. Okay, hear me out. Hear me out. We may be coming back to this one day. I can see Kairi finally getting to Quadratum, standing by Sora's side, maybe even Sora and Riku's side, but standing by primarily Sora's side, okay? Makes her way to Quadratum World of Fiction, stands by his side. They overcome the obstacle, and then Kairi says, Sora, let me take you home. I can take you home. And Sora's going to say, I can't. There are people here who need me. And just how at the end of Melody of Memory, Kairi chose to stay and not go, so too at the end of that scenario, Kairi will choose to stay and not go. So again, I'll say that. I can see a scenario where Kairi makes her way to the world of fiction, helps Sora with whatever he's dealing with, battling against, whatever obstacle stands in his way, and at the conclusion of that, she has the ability or has a way that she can take him home, back to the Kingdom Hearts world. And I can see Sora saying, I can't go. It doesn't have to be there are people here who need me. Maybe it's even just Strelitzia. He could say, I can't go. She needs me. Right? Could be like a nominate type thing. And then I could see Kairi going, well, if you're not going, I'm not going. So just like she chose to stay back away from Quadratum at the end of Melody of Memory, she will choose to stay in Quadratum at the end of Kingdom Hearts 4 or whatever game she finally makes her way to Sora. Again, maybe it's not Quadratum, maybe it's another world, but I can see a scenario like that playing out. That's what I can see playing out. That's a way that things can sort of come full circle from Aqua, right? Just as Aqua made this big sacrifice to protect Terra and Ven, and all three of them ended up separated, maybe Kairi can find another way. Maybe Kairi, when she's faced with that same sort of predicament that Aqua is, whether through Birth by Sleep, where she's trying to track them all down, or at the end game, where they're all in grave danger, maybe Kairi finds another way. And maybe instead of Kairi having to sacrifice herself in the way Aqua did, like I said, she finds another way, because what she has that Aqua doesn't is her Princess of Heart powers. And I think ultimately that's what's going to give her the edge over whatever obstacle she needs to correct from Aqua's perspective. Okay. Ooh, baby. How we doing, gang? How we doing? By the way, just wanted to drop this in the chat. Today is actually the last day you could vote for the Millions Dreams Awards. The MDAs happening at Reconnect next week. If you guys would be so kind, if you like what it is we do here, head on over to this link and vote for us for Best News and Podcast. You don't have to do it. All I ask is that you're here to hang out, like I always say. But yeah, just wanted to put that out there for you guys. Now, let's get back into it here. So I could see Kairi, again, those are the things I see. She has her own sort of trauma to correct with the whole kidnapping thing with Xehanort. And then there's Aqua's, to which I think she will inherit by being her pupil. Because that's just a pattern that I've seen play out quite a bit. Okie dokie. Let's see here. Let me check my notes. Make sure that I covered everything that I did. Kenjaku from Jujutsu Kaisen type shit. I still gotta watch Jujutsu Kaisen. Haven't gotten to that yet. Thank you, Trousers. Thank you for dropping that link in the Twitch chat. Do appreciate that. Alrighty. Let's see here. Make sure I got all my notes in, because that's what I can see. Because ultimately, guys, what I think we're building towards, what I think the Kingdom Hearts story is building towards, is some sort of finale with Sora, Riku, Kairi. I can't help but feel like that's where we're headed. Do you think she'll meet any of the new Princesses of Heart? I do, actually. I actually think that would be a perfect subplot for Kairi. Is give her a plot scenario where she has to deal with the Princesses of Heart, recruit them, rescue them. Give that subplot to her. I think there's a lot of interesting things you could do with that. If she finds another way, do you think it will be parallel to Ava? Whatever Ava decided to do when it's revealed. Look, Ava's another character. You know, I'm glad you brought that up, because we haven't even discussed the idea that Kairi and Ava's characters can be connected here. So, yeah, honestly. Let's talk about that a little bit. Let me just finish this last thought I was having. So yeah, I think personally that we're moving towards a scenario where Sora, Riku, and Kairi are together. All three of them are wielders And it comes down to them versus the world. Not in totality. I'm not saying like all the other Keyblade wielders get taken over, but in a sense that I think what we're working towards is it will be Sora, Riku, and Kairi who save the world. That's ultimately where I think we're headed. Again, I could be wrong about that, but ultimately I think that's where we're headed. And if we keep that in mind, and we expect to see similar patterns to what we saw in Kingdom Hearts 1, then it can give us a pretty good idea of where both these characters potentially could head. Again, with Riku, we talked about what he has and hasn't conquered yet. Again, the man who overcame darkness. Perhaps he will be confronted with light. Fairy Godmother's warning foreshadows an unfortunate fate at the end of Kingdom Hearts 1. Not that it has to be death, but it could be separation. And much like in Kingdom Hearts 1, he's separated into a different world, and there's going to be a pursuit for him as opposed to Sora or Kairi, like we've seen from both what will be KH4 and KH3. Again, sort of that cycle making its way back, right? Kingdom Hearts 1, we pursued Kairi. Kingdom Hearts 2, we pursued Riku. Kingdom Hearts 3 and Remind, we pursued Kairi. I think once with KH4 being Sora, I think Riku is kind of next in line for that to happen again. Okay. Maybe she could bring the new princesses together as a good version of the Villains Council. Well, Wally, we were talking earlier that there is a good version of the Villains Council. It's Fairy Godmother, Merlin, and Yen Sid. They're cooking up schemes. I'm telling you, they're cooking up schemes. I'm telling you. Heed my warning. That's what I'll say. Heed my warning. They are cooking up schemes. Don't let them pull the wool over your eyes, sickos and normies. Now, back to Riku and Kairi. So, that's how Riku could end up. With Kairi, we discussed that she has, again, her own internal trauma, and then there's what she may be taking on from Aqua as her pupil. Now let's talk about the Ava possibilities, since that came up. I think now we do need to talk about those possibilities that Ava may have a role here, that Ava may be in play here. I mean, guys, we've heard everything from Kairi's grandmother to Subject X to anything of that sort. I want to maybe take a different approach. You know, I've heard some people theorize that maybe Ava is in Kairi's heart, and maybe she's like heart hoteling Ava in some way. I don't think so. I think they would have figured that out. I'm not sure that's going to be the case. But I do think... I really do believe that Ava is likely Kairi's ancestor. I do believe that. I could be wrong. But there's something in that just kind of makes sense to me. It's hard for me to describe it. Maybe Ava... Guys, what if... All right, hear me out. Now we're in big theory mode. Now we're brewing up some stew. What if Ava is indeed Kairi's ancestor, and Ava becomes the first princess of Heart? Right, because that's a role. Because where did that role, Princess of Heart, come from? You know, now let's ask that question. Like, Keyblade wielder is self-evident, right? Because you manifest a fucking key sword. So that becomes sort of evident. Princess of Heart is something more ethereal. I feel like you don't know you're a Princess of Heart unless somebody, like, kind of has to tell you. Have they mentioned there being Princesses of Heart before KH1 times? We'd have to go back to the Union Cross and Dark Road and... I don't know. I don't know. That'd be worth combing over again because, frankly, what if Ava is the one who decided that? It couldn't be Union Cross times. I don't think so, right? Because all the worlds were together. So there would be no need to have a Princess of Heart. Maybe in Dark Road, but I don't remember them mentioning it. Would that mean that she left Daybreak Town and was able to form a bloodline? Most certainly. They do know that there's a Princess of Heart. Yeah, that's the thing. Villains are aware of it. But ultimately, because it makes me wonder, was Ava the first Princess of Heart? Because, man, this is so wild to think about. Because it's like Kairi is like the princess. She's like the apex princess. That's my nickname for her. Okay, that's my nickname for Kairi. She's the apex princess. Right? There's all these other princesses of heart that are from like these Disney worlds, right? But Kairi is like the apex princess of heart. But man, what even world is... This is getting me to think a lot. I'm not gonna lie. This is uncharted territory for me in terms of thinking this stuff. Loro says Princesses of Heart in Kingdom Hearts Union Cross would be a part of the world projections from the future. So it's a whole complicated paradoxy conundrum. True. Time is a fat circle. Yeah, Birth by Sleep is a different story, right? Because all the players are there. It's post Ava's life, Xehanort, Maleficent, all that's in play. It's making me wonder, was Ava... If so, Kairi and Ava took reverse routes. Ava went from Keyblade to Princess of Heart. Kairi went from Princess of Heart to Keyblade. You know what's crazy, man, is what if being the Princess of Heart is what qualified her for a Keyblade in the first place? Right? Because we still don't know. We still don't know where her Keyblade came from. Yeah, we still don't. Ay. Nomura did say he's going to tell us one day. Thank God for that. Otherwise, we'd be, no pun intended, left in the dark, so to speak. My lord. If I remember correctly, in an old Union Cross scene, the princesses were the OG7 who fixed the world and made it fractured. Yeah, so my question would be, is who created that system? She's not in the Keyblade graveyard. You see, she's like the outlier. Interesting. One second. Let me see what I can do here. Riku gave Kairi her Keyblade randomly in KH2. Yeah, and we still need that explained. You know, I'm not willing to accept it just poofed into existence. Give me a second here. Let me pull this up. Yeah, I'm not willing to accept that Riku just poofed it into existence. So it'll be interesting to see if that's part of what gets it explained. If it had something to do with that, but we'll see. Let me see. I thought her Keyblade was from Aqua. You could argue that it was shaped by Aqua because there's the overlap of the flowers, right? She gave the flowers to Aqua, and so the flowers ended up on the Keyblade. She touched Aqua's Keyblade. Ava could be using Strelitzia's body the same way Lushu used Brain. Yeah, you know something? That's actually a good point. Ava could be using Strelitzia's body the same way Lushu used Brain. Can you imagine that, actually? Josh, you might be onto something. Josh. Maybe in the same way Lushu and Brain cut that deal, Ava and Strelitzia cut that deal. That's a good point. I like that. But you know what? You know what I'm starting to think? That, yeah, Kairi doesn't have her Kairi doesn't have her Keyblade because Aqua bequeathed her. I know there's that theory that because, and I buy into it too, don't get me wrong, that because Kairi touched Aqua's Keyblade, that bequeathed her. What if that's not what did it? What if her becoming a Princess of Heart is why she got the Keyblade? Because think about it. Terra, in the same game, it's not like they're different games. In the same game, Terra bequeathed Riku incredibly formally. You know what I'm saying? Incredibly formally. I don't think if there was the same intent for Kairi that it would have been, oh, she touched it like very subtly. I don't know. I think if the idea was she was bequeathed as well, it would be equally as formal. Right? And then when Aqua went to Destiny Islands, it was like, okay, he's already been bequeathed. Sora hasn't. I don't need to do another one. She never brought up Kairi. Like, oh, I just bequeathed that other girl. You know? So what if, in fact, it wasn't her touching Aqua's Keyblade and has to do more with the fact that she is a Princess of Heart? Silver Dashes, but then wouldn't that mean the princesses from KH1 could have just have easily been wielders? Not necessarily. This is kind of what I'm trying to get to with Ava, that maybe Ava became like the Princess of Heart and she became the Apex Princess, and that's why Ava had the Keyblade. And maybe that's the thing about Kairi, because they're all Princesses of Hearts, right? But Kairi is a different level of that. She's like the number 7, again, the Apex. So I'm wondering if maybe because she's like the Apex Princess of Heart, maybe that's where her Keyblade comes from. I don't know. We still don't know. Since Riku was technically the actual Kingdom Key bearer before it moved down to Sora, maybe there's some connection between the Kingdom Key and the Princesses of Heart. There's a royal connection that allowed Riku to manifest Kairi's Keyblade, almost like a Dream Eater. I mean, we went hard on a couple months back. We did that episode, right, where we're talking about Kairi the Chirithy, and Riku the Dream Eater. Wild. On her Keyblade, the Palpu is linked to the flower by red thread of fate. Interesting. Excuse me. Ava is Latin for grandmother. It is, but Ava is also Latin for greed, which that is what she's named after, Avaritia. All the foretellers are named after the Latin words for the 7 deadly sins. So I like the Ava grandmother theory. I'm not sold. And yeah, the Chirithy ears on her hood, whatever that was about. I mean, we can see him right here. You know, in this shot. She's got the Chirithy ears. You know? Ain't no questions about that. I think the reason why Yozora is connected to Sora and Riku is because Riku is the original Keyblade Chosen One, and Sora is now the actual Chosen One, and Yozora is the Chosen One in his reality. I wonder if, this is my thing, man, is like, I think Sora is a series of taboos. I've gone into this before. I think it's possible, like, you remember when Brain said he wants to create the virus in the Master System? I actually think that's what Sora is. I think Sora keeps disrupting everything. Between him getting the Kingdom Key from Riku, him using the power of waking in a taboo sense, Xehanort not really being mindful of him and sort of just seeing him as this dull, ordinary boy. I think it's very possible that Sora is the virus in that sense, in that there's this plan in place and he sort of keeps disrupting it. And that's why now that he's in Quadratum, the Master's kind of watching him and going like, who is this guy down here? Who is this guy who keeps just blip, 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 blipping everything? You know? The glitch. You might, for you Wreck-It Ralph fans, the glitch. Right? Okay. Whoop. Sorry, this is, mic's falling off a little bit. Give me a second to fix. All right. Put that back in. And we are back. Okay. Give me a minute real quick, guys. I just want to refill my water and run to the bathroom. We will be right back.
나의 가지에 쌓인 시간들을 잊고 모난 말을 숨기고서 별을 읽었지. 어디로도 갈 수 없어 길을 잃었지. 세상에 없는 계절이 아득히 떨어진 새벽에 한숨만을 삼키고서 기다리곤 했지. 낯선 곳을 할 일 없이 헤매기만 했지.
I was muted. Now I'm unmuted. I'm back. I'm back. You don't have to tell me I'm muted. I'm unmuted now. Okay. Deep down, the foretellers are low-key happy that Sora didn't let Darkness win, since they were scared of Darkness winning in key back cover. Yeah. But here's the thing, is they don't necessarily... You're right, that ultimately they would be happy that Sora did what he did, but I don't think that they'll be happy that they don't necessarily see Darkness as the enemy. I think that's going to be an interesting conflict that's brewing. The vessel technique might be another piece of master knowledge that Ericus was going to pass down to Aqua, and it's a move he used on Terra himself. That's an interesting point, Wally. I'm wondering if that spell, let's say, is part of that forbidden Keyblade knowledge. Okay. The virus is his power to link hearts. Yeah, that, and to awaken them, right? It's what makes not Yuzora, it's like what makes Vanitas real, in a sense. So it's believable that Ava could do the same to Strelitzia. Yeah, I really like that idea, actually. I actually think that's a great idea that Josh brought up. That it's very possible that Ava did to Strelitzia what Lushu did to Brain. Guys, things are so crazy. For all we know, like, this is Kingdom Hearts, man. It's like, for all you know, Lushu is still Brain. Like for all we know. Because again, I always come back to, like, if he doesn't really identify with the name Lushu in that ending, these days they call me Zigbar. Hey, whatever suits you. Like, he's still not. You know what I mean? He didn't say, yes, it is I, Lushu. Good to see you again, pals. It was just like, whatever suits you. These days they call me Zigbar. So, I sometimes wonder if, for all we know, Braig and Zigbar may have told us that they were Lushu. Haven't heard that name in a long while. Doesn't mean that's his name. Just means he hasn't heard it in a long while. But again, I don't know. I'm more akin to take his word for it that is Lushu, ultimately. But we shouldn't dismiss the idea that it very well still could be Brain. So we're going to take his first L if he fights the Foretellers. Bro needs his training arc. He does need to get his ass beat. Definitely needs to get his ass beat. Do you think that we might see some Nier in Yuzora's world? I find it so weird that when he does his ultimate, the background turns to a blank PC background, just like Nier Automata. I don't think you're going to see Nier per se. I think it's definitely took some inspiration from Nier, but I don't think you get any sort of direct overlap. That's Sora's real power, but it's much clearer in the Japanese script for KH1. Yeah, his power to link hearts. I mean, that's why in Remind, like the final mission of Remind is you're linking all the keyholes. That's his power is creating that link. In a sense, Sora is the link from the player to the game. So again, that power to link hearts. There's something very meta and deep there. He never confirmed anything. That's kind of what I'm saying, Kevin. He never outright said, yeah, I'm Lushu. I definitely agree that no-name Keyblade transformed old Scala into the new one. We see Xehanort in because Master Defender is able to transform its world into Castle Oblivion. Yeah, and who knows what other worlds they're capable of doing that with. I've always thought Lushu enjoyed looking after young Ericus and Xehanort as a fellow classmate. Man, this is again what makes Lushu one of my favorite characters, like not just in Kingdom Hearts, but like ever, is like, man, who knows what's going on in his head? Who knows what's going on in his head, bro? Who knows? This one's for you, Lushu. He is literally an everyman. Lushu, I mean. He's not just an everyman. He is no name. That is what he is. I know I have a theory about this on the channel, but like, there's a reason Lushu wields no name. Because he is no name. Doesn't even care what his name is. Whatever suits you. I haven't heard that in a long while. Not, it's good to hear my name again. Wasn't anything like that. You know? Wasn't anything like that. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, I did not mean to do that. Okay. By the way, much love again to Josh Z for his super chat earlier, and Lands for gifting 5 memberships, and Trousers for his raid. We've gotten a lot of love this episode, I've got to say. Gotten a lot of love this episode. I appreciate that, guys. Okay, let's keep this rolling, shall we? In the Kingdom Hearts 3 report, Lushu is writing it as though he is, I think you mean tired, not tried. As if he's tired. Yeah. I'd have to reread to completely affirm, but I'm pretty sure I got that same vibe. It's funny how in Greek, no name or nobody literally translates to Shion. Is that right? You just pronounce it differently? Is it Zion? Then? Isn't no name the Master's Keyblade passed down, though? Here's the thing, though, Trousers. We've never seen the Master of Masters use it. We've never seen him actually use it. He just sort of manifested it, didn't even have a name for it, gave it to Lushu, and was like, yeah, I put my eye in there just so I could watch. But we've never seen him use it. Something to think about. Something to think about. He's very flippant about his name. It's his eye, though. It is his eye. But it's not his Keyblade. Until he takes it back. The scene of Lushu and Master of Masters hits different now. No name Keyblade given to a man with many names. That's what I'm saying. A man who doesn't identify with any of those names. A man who doesn't even identify with any of those names. Riku will take his light taken away from him, and Sora will have to give Riku's light back that he took when he reached into Riku's heart in Cage 1 when Riku was given into the darkness. Whatever we talked about this earlier in the episode, but whatever Riku's headed towards, the obstacle is probably light related. Watching Riku overcome the darkness again it's just not going to have that same like staying power or impact that it otherwise would. You know what I mean? I just I don't see that happening personally. Okie dokie. Let's keep this rolling. All right. I think the Master is going to be like Gilgamesh from Fate Image, how scary it is when he just uses a billion Keyblades. That's the thing. Nomura loves Gilgamesh. That's why, like, Kevin, you may actually be onto something there because Tetsuya Nomura loves Gilgamesh. No, And you got to think about it, guys. There's a reason Nomura loves Gilgamesh is like because Gilgamesh, man, Gilgamesh might be the oldest hero story ever. Ever. In terms of like being dated, it's the oldest hero's journey that we have in history. Like the Epic of Gilgamesh. It's wild stuff. And we don't know at what point Lushu gives it up. He uses Starlight as Bragi, right? Yeah, as Bragi. It's funny. I almost thought Brag. But yeah, as Bragi. Yeah, that's a very good point. That's a very good point. I'm actually going to double check that real quick. I'm going to double check that real quick. Kingdom Hearts, Dark Road, finale. Oh, what a time to live. What a time to be alive. The Dark Road finale. Okay, let's pull this up here. Is this... Nope. He does take Xehanort's Keyblade rather casually in that scene. I know what you're talking about. Okay, let's see. Where's the big old braggy scene? I think that's before this, or is it after this? That's Balder. Yep, he uses the Starlight Keyblade. Interesting. So Bragi, who we know to be Lushu right now, uses the Starlight Keyblade during the Dark Road times because the no-name Keyblade is up on the wall and Odin watches over it, which hold the phone. All right. So here's Bragi, who we know to be Lushu, who has the Starlight Keyblade, and no name is on the wall in Scala, which makes me think about Odin, right? And that we saw Odin disappear. So Odin will probably come back. We probably haven't seen the last of Odin. I know we've discussed Odin and Brain before, but for some reason it seems a little bit more easy to connect them than it used to. You could say Xehanort did pass down the Keyblade to Sora in Cage 3. I would say that was a bequeathing. I have to be honest. And I think I think that's actually better, right? That like Terra bequeaths Riku, but Daddy Xehanort bequeaths Sora. Amen. But again, going back to Odin and Brain, it was Lushu's job to watch the Keyblade, which makes me wonder, is like, what if Bragi... No, because he said... Okay, I'm going to entertain an idea that might be really stupid. It completely deviates from the title topic, but that's fine. I want to put this idea out there, and I need to know if it makes sense or if it's nonsense. All right. Let's extend the idea. Okay? Let's extend the idea that actually Xigbar is not Lushu, Xigbar is Brain. And this is the big play. Hear me out. Okay? What if Bragi here isn't actually Lushu? I know he says as if, right? That's supposed to be our key to knowing it's him. But what if if Xigbar was actually Brain, then as if would be a Brain line. So what if the whole time Bragi, Brag, Xigbar, what if that was actually Brain all along and Odin is actually Lushu? Because then that would explain why he had the no-name Keyblade, going to pass it down. Does that make any sense? That maybe all along Brain is actually Xigbar, Bragi, and that Lushu himself is actually Odin, and that's the play? Been telling y'all, the shot where his eyes are cut off is going to mean something. Landy is cooking. Yeah, again, we've talked about this, Laurel, but like, cinematically, typically when you cover somebody's eyes, they're hiding something. You know? But like, yeah, I want someone to shoot this theory down. Can somebody shoot this theory down? Can somebody shoot it down? I'd like to get some sleep tonight. Because I think what makes this wild is that it answers the Odin question. If that's true, right? I'm not saying it is. It answers the Odin question, and it's still compatible with the end of KH3. And then Ava didn't make it after all. It wouldn't be just about Ava. It'd be that both Ava and Luxu were actually absent. The two who clashed still are like pulling. I feel like Missing Link was going to help us with this. All right. And Odin knows far too much about the events of Union Cross. No, Odin is suspicious, and the fact that he just vanishes, right? He just left, which means he's not done. That character's not done. I'm kind of bugging. No, nobody has shot this down yet. I need it shot down. This is the problem with a theory like this, is that there's no way to actually disprove it. And this is the genius of Luxu and Brain's plan. Because I'm thinking, I was like, is there any way to... All right, Kevin's got us. I don't know if this shoots it down, but Luxu, when he was talking to Darkness, was acting like Zigbar when they were talking, and he didn't make that deal with Brain yet. But you know something? Hold on. The snarkiness. I'm glad you brought this up. The snarkiness is much more reflective of Brain's attitude than Luxu's, right? Now, we've seen Luxu toughen up at certain points, like when he actually confronts Brain, but Luxu's a little bit more aloof, a little bit more... His temperament is different. He's typically softer, right? Like, ew! When he tells him, but why? Like, I don't know. Luxu was always softer, and Zigbar has this snarkiness to him, but that snarkiness didn't always exist with Luxu, but it always did exist with Brain. Brain has always had that kind of snarkiness about him. Wait a minute. Why would Brain bring back the foreteller? So it would have to be a big Brain move, right? He'd have to be playing 4D chess. He's trying to out 4D chess the master. Let me think. Because that's a good question, Hype Man. That's the good question. Why would Brain want to bring the foretellers back? So what does Brain want? He wants what every Kingdom Hearts character wants. He wants his friends back, okay? He wants his friends back. What would bringing the foreteller... Oh, wait. Maybe by bringing the foretellers back on this side, he can sort of bait the master back over, or he could bait Strelitzia, and whatever's going on over there, he could bait them back over. What if... No. Wait. What if the idea is to have the Dandelions in Quadratum, but the foretellers in the Kingdom Hearts world? Maybe there's something Brain wants to do with that. And maybe both the foretellers and Dandelions will, like, do something on both sides of reality that will achieve something. Do you think that's possible? Do you think that could be the play? To have the foretellers on one side and the Dandelions on the other? To achieve some sort of... Okay, because pretty much all the foretellers are over here. We know the Dandelions are going to be... We'd have to see. Because really, We only have confirmation that Strelitzia is over there, not any more dandelions. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. But I think something like that might be afoot. I think something like that might be afoot. Definitely possible, especially since we're likely going back and forth between realities. Yeah, I think something like that is just bound and destined to happen. That I think the Master, he's going to want to perform. Maybe what the Master wants, if he can get light and dark to clash on both sides of reality, like Kingdom Hearts' version of splitting an atom. Is that what the Master wants to do? Does he want light? He got light and dark to clash in one way, opening up a gate between two realities. Does he now want both those realities to clash light and dark to open up like a third? Interesting. Interesting. So Brain or Lushu planned on having the foretellers in the final world until the time was right? In the final world until the time... That's the issue, right, Laurel? Because we don't know exactly where they were pulled from. We don't know exactly where they were pulled from. But that is a good point. What's up, guides? What up, dude? So Brain or Lushu plan on having the foretellers in the final world until the time was right. Almost like a boxless semi-black box. Yeah, whether it's Brain or Lushu. That's the wild thing. I think some bots are following me on Twitch. I'll just ignore it. Anyway, actually, you know something? If Sigurd is in reality, so could Brain. Yeah, I have a feeling some of the missing Link cast might be in Quadratum. I think it's possible you see something like that. Like, not just Sigurd, but a lot of the other characters, too. That's it. That sounds right. The box he has. Because the box didn't exist yet. The box only existed after light and darkness clashed. And maybe if he can get light and darkness to clash again, that's when the box should be opened. Yeah, maybe that's the play. Okay, so maybe that's the play. Have the dandelions on one side of reality, the foretellers on the other. You get light and darkness to clash on both sides of reality. You open the black box, and now it's like this watershed moment. This Pandora watershed moment that can't be undone. What if the black box is the plan B that the Master said to Lushu, because Lushu said, what if it doesn't go as planned? You tell me, yeah, it could be his every eventuality move. I could see that. A box that affects both realities. Or connects them. That's the thing. That's why Ava's not there. Brain behaving like a dude he met one time to get information on them makes too much sense. Yeah, I'm starting to really question. And let's not forget that Lushu's eyes are still yellow at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3. Which could be indicative of darkness, right? That's the major play, right? Is that it could be darkness. I thought that it possibly could be Xehanort hitching a ride in some way. There's a lot of opportunities. What are the black boxes like reverse Pandora box? It's meant to keep the darkness in. I've thought about that too. Is like maybe the black box more is like a vacuum, and inside of it is sort of this fantasy world, right? Think about Maruki. Think about maybe those of you who saw the end of Gravity Falls. That kind of like pocket dimension, pocket world, trying to get the hero to kneel to a fantasy, so they don't face the troubles of reality. What up, Suko? They were yellow in Birth by Sleep, too. They were yellow at the end of Birth by Sleep. Right? They were yellow at the end of Birth by Sleep. I like tip of the cap. Tip of the cap. Which means, I don't know. Something's up. Something's afoot. Something's afoot, and we're on it. Okay. We're at an hour and a half? All right. Going off what you said about Zigbar being brain instead, that makes the line he said so much more crazy. You don't look like half the heroes the others were. Interesting. Wait, if Brain is Zigbar, it would make sense for him to take Subject X if she was Scald! Hype man! You're right. Brain would have so much more of a vested interest in Subject X than Luciu would, per se. The box contains hope, and the reason for the existence of fictional stories throughout history is not only for people to imagine other worlds, but also as escapism to escape from the harsh realities of their reality. So the box contained hope. Could that be the reference to the concept? Like the box is escapism given form, or something. So here's the thing about that, right? So in the Pandora's box, myth, hope is the only thing that's left in the box. So when I hear about hope being in the box, it's the first place my mind goes to. Again, in the Pandora myth, hope is the only thing left in the box after it's been opened. However, the idea that the box contains hope and what it will be is a play for the master to create like a fantasy world that he can be the god of, which wouldn't be much different from what Xehanort was trying to do. But a la the way that, again, Gravity Falls approached this, Persona 5 approached this, I even think FF7 might be treading on this line. I think it's possible that could be the play. Zemnis, make certain that the box's contents match what's on the label. Is that what he said? Did he say that? Did he say that? Yeah. But I liked Hype Man's point. I've got to be honest. I liked his point here. That if Brain was actually Zigbar all along, it makes the whole Subject X fiasco actually make way more sense. How very interesting. If only Ventus interacted with Zigbar! Is that why he sees Ventus? Is that why he sees Ventus when he looks at Shion? Okay. Nakula says, we don't know much of Luciu's origins. Will be explored in future KH titles now that Missing Link is canceled. Hope from FF13. Yeah, okay, listen, guys. All right, listen. We're going live. We're going live Wednesday all about this. I'm telling you right now. We are going live Wednesday night. This is the topic. This is the topic. What if Zigbar was Brain all along? We're doing it. We're doing it. I'm going to do my homework. I'm going to have image. We cracked it. I think we cracked it. I think we might have cracked it. I think we might have cracked it. I think we need to go live Wednesday night with another podcast, and we need to talk all about this. Okay, we're gonna talk all about this. No, it's over. We cracked the case. We cracked the case. We're going live Wednesday. We're talking all about it. I might honestly just clip what we've discussed here, and then we're just going to go live Wednesday anyway, even though the clip exists, and we're just going to go live. I'm losing it. I'm losing it. I'm losing it. Maybe I'm crazy. I think we're right. I think we're right. It'd be great if we can get Sonny in here for that. Why? Is that like a big Sonny idea? Fill me in on the Sonny lore, because I will ask him. Fill me in on the Sonny lore. Fill me in on the Sunny lore about this topic. What don't I know? What have I missed? See, that was going to be my podcast on Wednesday. I was going to do a Wednesday night podcast talking about Fabula Nova Crystallis coming to Kingdom Hearts, that specifically. But we've tapped into something else. Can someone fill me in on the Sunny lore? Is this something he's been stewing on for a little bit? Yeah, I'm lost too. Yeah, that's why I'm like on his own brain teaser video. That's right. No, it's more so that Sonny hates the idea of Zigbar not being Lucio and it being a double twist. Sorry, Sonny. Sorry, Sonny. You know what might be funny? You know it might be funny to have him in here, and if I can convince him in some way. But it's going to be so late his time. It's going to be his time. Wait, Landy Cage 2 cutscene with Zigbar and Marluxia? Give me a second. Yeah, maybe I can convince Sonny to stay up late, do an episode with me, and if we could convince Sonny, I think we're on to something. If Brain is Zigbar, what do you think Brain has planned for Riku and Kairi going forward? If Brain was Zigbar all along, what would he be? If I had a Keyblade, it'd be different. 1 second. KH2 Zigbar Marluxia. Let's see if we could pull this up. Do you mean the Zigbar and Zexion cutscene? Is that what you mean? That's what you mean. I found one the other day. Yes! No. It's done. It's done. I think we're slam dunking. He might already be traveling to the U.S. by then. All right. I'll get in touch with Sonny. See what we could do. But Wednesday night, 7 p.m. guides. Is that the time slot? 7 p.m. Don't ask me why I'm asking guides. You'll all find out soon. But yes, it's done like toast. No, Wednesday night. Wednesday night, folks. I'm gonna clip what we've discussed here just to get our minds brewing. But Wednesday night, we're gonna interrogate this idea. Here's what I'm gonna do. At the beginning of Wednesday night, we are gonna build the case, and then we will try to destroy the case. Wouldn't that be something? Record at Reconnect in person? You know, if I could get him to, maybe I could get him to comment on it. Also, Lucia was forbidden from interfering. No one said Brain couldn't. It's a wrap. It's a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. You're 100% right. And that's why Lucia would have a vested interest, because he technically would not be disobeying the master, because he was told not to interfere. So if he just has somebody interfering on his behalf, he's found a loophole in the master's system, which is what Brain was trying to be by being a virus in the master system. And maybe that's why Luciu approached Brain to begin with, because he knew that was Luciu's intent. I mean, he knew that was Brain's intent. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Wednesday night, we're going in. Tonight, we're wrapping it up. That's why Brain had the black coat and no name. I'm telling you, it's a wrap. It's been solved here on this podcast, episode 262. Okay, we'll come back to it. Wednesday night, 263. All right? It's happening. I was gonna end on such a you guys know how I've been ending these streams and these podcasts lately, playing very nice and relaxing, calm music. You know what I'm saying? That's not how we're ending this time. Okay, we got crazy energy right now. We're going in. Wednesday night, it's a wrap. Absolute cinema. We're going to Photoshop my face on that. And it's going to say Absolute Brain. Absolute Brain. Wednesday night, I am telling you, Wednesday night, 7 Eastern, I will lay out the whole... You know what, guys? We're going to do this together. Actually. We're going to do this together. We're going to do this together. We're going to make sure we're going to get all our points together. If anyone thinks of any points, any ideas throughout the week, I want you throwing it in the Discord. I want you throwing it in the Discord. You understand? You understand? You got any ideas that either prove or disprove this theory? Throw it in the Discord. Here's an invite in the chat. If you're watching this back, you have any ideas that prove or disprove it? Throw it in the comments. I'll put up a clip tomorrow that sort of proposes this whole idea. And then Wednesday night, we're not only going to try and prove it to our fullest ability, we will then switch gears and try to deconstruct it from the bottom up. Anyway, we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you for hanging out. Any other guests? No, the chat is my guest. Guys, that honestly, guys, if you haven't noticed, that's kind of the dynamic of the standard show, is it's me and you guys. It's me in the chat. Once in a while, we'll get some guests in here to have some fun, but it's you and me, gang. It's you and me. Look at the magic we create. Do you see this? Do you see? Yeah, the braggy, brag. They've been giving it to us. All right, gang. So again, much love to Lance for gifting those 5 memberships. Much love to Josh Z for giving us that $5 super chat. Much love to you, Trousers, for rating us over on Twitch. Gang, we're wrapping it up here today. I might go live with FF14 later. Don't count on it. But we're going to wrap it up here for today. Wednesday night, we're going in. Wednesday night, we're going in. I'm excited. Stay excited. You all be good out there. I love all you guys. You make this a lot of fun to do. Again, this show would not be half of what it was without you guys in the chat. So thank you for that. We're wrapping it up here. Thanks for chilling. Enjoy the tunes on the way out. I'll see you all Wednesday night. And yeah, don't forget to cast your final votes for the Million Dreams Awards. It ends tonight. Peace out, everybody.